5 of our 6 past champions are in a full-time seat, while the champion, not in a full-time seat, is a reserve this season. That's Mali. Many new faces, some in new places, some have other stories which we'll be covering throughout the season. The season features 26 rounds, a brand new record. This track is Chapter 1 of 26 Bahrain, a circuit with 15 turns, 3 DRS zones, much runoff as well, and 29 laps ahead of the drivers in a desert. Some say nighttime's the right time. Well, hopefully all the issues we have ends up being the right time to have it sorted. That's why we're 15 minutes late. I'm your commentator, Ryan Searles. I'm joined by Owen 57. Thankfully he's here. Both of us in commentary for the event. As always, welcome to the event, everyone. We're glad to have you all join us. I apologize for it being so late, but whenever you're watching, wherever you may be watching, glad to have you, and good to have you alongside of your
excuse me, Brian, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I hope
Apparently there's issues with your mic as well. I don't know if it's my mic.
Yeah, I'm gonna fix that.
Okie dokie. There is a car on circuit. Let me see. How do I use the? No, I scroll the menus.
Hello? Hello?
I
Hello?
think
Hello?
no.
Hello? 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 Can you hear me? Hello?
Goodbye.
That's the mic. Hello?
I'm trying to test
let me check. Okay.
on stream. It's fine.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Obviously, I'm just. Oh, my mic's obviously cutty because
It's Twitch for you.
because Twitch is
All right,
class.
we've figured it out. It is fixed. Thank you, Luke, or Lennon, Luke, whatever the Twitch name is. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I'm all off of everything just because of how it all started. Xbox, services is. We're not going to talk about it. It's not the greatest, but I'm glad to have you alongside me. How are you today? In all honesty.
Me, I'm upset because I was trying to get the gritty emotes on Fortnite, but because some M&M rap events on, there's like a 5-hour queue, and then I finished the queue. It was like an hour long. I finished the queue, was going on to the game, loading in, and it wouldn't load in, so they restarted the game, and then put in another hour and a half queue. So I'm very upset. I just
see.
want my emote.
Well, how about we go over the headlines and changes quickly before we get onto any ups? Again, I am severely sorry that it has started this late for the stream. This is not usually what I wanted. Even yesterday, I started a little bit later than I did for Tier 2. As for today, I started way later than I wanted to. I wanted to start around 2:55. I was probably able to. Couldn't connect to a party, so I tried restarting the Xbox. That didn't work. Then it wouldn't let me sign in. And I had to restart 3 different times. And I could get onto F1, but I couldn't get on the F1 on the streamer account. And then, after that, I realized, okay, let's try a loophole. I'm going to go on F1 through my original account, then sign into the streamer account, and then here we are. And then luckily around that time, party started working again. So that's the story of how we got here, which, please, I know there's so many people who were going to probably tune in at 3 o'clock. I sent it out to let them know the stream is finally up. Owen, we have lots of changes to go through. Do you want to start going through some of the changes in terms of driver lineups? By the way, welcome back to some of these drivers as well, too.
Yes, Red Bull with an all-new lineup. I don't know if I'm lagging. Keep me updated on if it's horrible.
You're good.
Yeah. Cookie, who's currently P1 here, is obviously new to the Red Bull. Dishkiller was in the Red Bull last race, but here's his first actual outing. Official Red Bull driver. Scusfer has joined the McLaren outfit alongside ES Colesman. And at Ferrari, there's been no change.
It's always good to see. Must be said. KVS returning to RPL, the first time since Season 7, Round 11. The last time that driver, he was back, KVS. He was racing when Joseph Loke last won, let alone when McLaren last won before last season. 50-plus races ago. He is out of the session due to having internet issues as well. Either internet issues or simply just issues through Xbox. You can see Reese Dainty, your champion, is now at Alfa Romeo. He's gone from Reese Dainty to RPL Surge. You can see Grogers, the teammate who's a reserve this season, getting a nice little tow from the Ferrari. That is Josh. Lewis Piper switches from McLaren to Aston Martin. Different academies there. Grogers, a reserve, as I said. Redfire Tiger, Alpine Academy to Ferrari Academy. McLaren to Haas. Shanghai, Aston for the season opener. Florian is going from Tier 2 to Tier 1. He's at AlphaTauri. Gecko, a previous Tier 1 winner, is back for a reserve appearance on loan, I believe, for Williams. Formula Cringe debut. Minico, Mercedes Academy to Ferrari Academy. Grogers goes 15th fastest. And lastly, we have TB over at Mercedes. And the two Americans, currently 1-2, Scyther and Cookie.
It's the American invasion, it seems to be at the moment. Mr.
Alright, Reese
Surge.
needs an invite.
Is he on the game?
Sort that out. I think he's not, but I will make sure he's in, because last he said he did invite me. Alright, well that makes sense. He's got that sorted. He pinged me earlier, so good thing he got that sorted. My apologies. Yeah, we are off schedule, so my apologies, by the way. Couple other headlines just to go through. It's Season 10, 26 race calendar. That's longest RPL's ever had. Jacob Adams-Zach returns this season after basically a season ban. And Zakaria is on his last race of his race ban. He'll be back next week for Saudi Arabia. Owen, how about you take it away with Lewis Piper here for an outlap around the circuit? You know, you won yesterday in Brazil, so why not give you the honors of this hot lap with Lewis Piper, currently in the bottom four, excuse me, but yet to set a time.
Well, here we go then. The DRS activated across the start-finish line. Lewis Piper and the Aston Martin should be really aiming for the top 8, preferably. Into turn 1 we go, braking hard. No locking up there. It seems very aggressive braking, and then very squirrely in the turn 1, 2, 3 area, and now towards turn 4, braking after just at the 100-meter board, taking the ape very nicely, but very wide on the exit, and want to use as much curve as you can. The little S section, very nicely done here, and then into the hairpin you come, very easy to lock up. Another corner, incredibly easy to lock up. Is the next corner here, turn 10 we come. And you'll see a wee bit of a locking issue there. And to the back straight, the third DRS straight on the track. Sweeping in the left-hander of turn 11 and up the hill. Beautiful collective of corners. Do not touch the curb on the inside too much. It can spin you and spit you out, chew you and spit you out, and fling you off into the runoff. And he's invalidated his lap by going wide.
Well, gonna need to go again. Got 2 podiums last season. This is not the start he would have wanted to get a podium for Aston Martin, who got a podium in the Season 8 opener last season. Invade says the McLaren lineup is strong. I would love to agree with that, and I do agree with that. We're now watching Wavy, who's improving by 2/10. Either way, with the McLaren lineup, both think they're safe, and the rest of the top 6 do as well. Reese Dainty retiring from the session for Alfa Romeo, your past champion, also believing he is safe too. So, here comes Wavy, 2/10 up on the time. This would currently get him in over Redfire Tiger. Now, here he comes to the turn 9, 10 section. It is such a tricky section to navigate your way through. A little bit of a slide there on traction, you can see. That is where it gets a little slippery on the traction. You don't want to mash the gas already coming out of that turn where you likely lock up, likely could go wide, and we could see track limit warnings there. Another place where a lot of battling could be happening. Turn 11, 12, and 13 area. This is a place where if you're ahead, you could force someone off. Now, 3/10 up on the time, so this should get him through as long as no one else is improving. Now, final 2 corners for him. This is basically the same corner, but it's counted as 2 corners. Final braking zone. We could see some DRS games here into that corner. We'll find out come race time. However, what is he going to do? Come to Q2. Will it be Wavy in? Yes, it is. Just behind the teammate. That's what he needed. It's a comfortable gap as well. Next across the line will be a Haas. That is Miniko. He's looking safely through. 2/10 up on the time, and likely not going to improve his spot. But if anyone else in that bottom area can improve their lap times massively, it would knock out Miniko, who is tied with Florian currently, and Groggers already couldn't get back to the checkered flag, so he's in the bottom 4 out of qualifying. Miniko has gotten to Q2 with a Williams before. He improves and makes sure he's safely through to Q2 with a Haas this time. Next are the Astons. Here comes Shanghai. Shanghai 2/10 up. Shanghai improves ahead of Wavy. Next is Lewis Piper. Lewis Piper, the one and done, makes him into Q2. Now that puts Florian in the bottom 5, who's invalidated, so he's going to be out of the session. So Florian, in his AlphaTauri debut this season, is in. But can Redfire knock Wavy out? He can! Redfire is going to be in. So, Redfire impressing quite well, and across the line comes Gecko to put it 10th fastest. So the bottom 4 are Wavy, Florian, Groggers, and KVS. You have the the Mercedes Academy at Williams. You have the Red Bull Academy with AlphaTauri. You have the Ferrari Academy with Alfa Romeo. And you have the Alpine Academy with Alpine with KVS out. So 4 different academies make up that bottom 4.
That is very interesting. Wow. I'm just going to quickly rejoin the game on my Xbox because it is having issues on the personal computer.
Well, I will say, Florian does come as a shock, though, because he said, I'm going to prove you wrong. Well, so far, round number 1, in terms of disappointing teams, because I said I didn't know enough about him and Formula Cringe, if Florian has been my disappointment this session. Did I expect Groggers to be out? Yes, I did. Did I expect Wavy to be out? Maybe. KVS, I don't know enough about in recent seasons, because he hasn't raced since Season 7, but he's always been a fast driver, and this is his first start this game, so you can't really blame him for being in the bottom 5, although this time was not his fault. Either way, looking at this bottom 4, well, it's bottom 4, not bottom 5, Florian is a shock, as I did say, and the thing about him that I'm going to be looking at is how can he improve in terms of race pace? We know his qualifying pace tends to be better than the race pace. It's time to find out for him in just 30 minutes time. Here we go. Here is your top 5: Red Bull, McLaren, Red Bull, Ferrari, and Formula Cringe on the debut through to Q2. Lewis Piper, Aston Martin debut through to Q2. Miniko for Haas as well. Redfire for Haas. Surge for Alfa Romeo. And there is your bottom 4. We mentioned the teams. Here's the drivers: Wavy, Florian, Groggers, and KVS.
Yes, I'm 7 minutes.
For those of you watching the stream now, you could probably put in a prediction and maybe you can get it right. You can figure out who would be through, who would not be through. And we can go through some outlaps as well with the drivers. We'll be covering that a lot this session. But the big shocker, I would say, in terms of drivers getting through into this session, both Haas's, very good to see. And most importantly, the big shocker of them all for me, Formula Cringe. On his debut in RPL, he was scheduled to run a Tier 2 race at the end of last season. Didn't do so. In Tier 1, one of Cookie's friends, and looks like he is doing everything to prove he deserves that seat, and we'll get Owen back in. Through Xbox or EA, Owen? Where to get you an invite back? Okay, cool. Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, it sucks for me because my internet before the stream was completely fine whenever Xbox didn't have issues. And then it did, so that's where I was like, oh boy. I will say, for those of you interested as well, Titan and I did our predictions for this season as well as expectations. Talked about different driver lineups, different teams, different drivers, tons of things with it. If you would like to check that out on the RPL YouTube, you may as well go do so. With that being said, it must be mentioned, Cookie in a new team. He won this race 2 seasons ago. Also, Scyther in a new team, has not raced since his last race for Ferrari at Texas. Now he's at McLaren with a strong lineup with Korsman alongside. Jack Miles and Josh are a really good lineup at Ferrari. Mercedes have 2 champions there with Luke and TB. And it must be said, the last time, Reese was called Surge, whether it be RPL Surge or Insane Surge, TB hadn't won a championship. Cookie wasn't even racing in RPL F1. And Luke definitely had less than 40 wins. So a lot has happened since. That being said. Either way, how about we go on board with the driver we just mentioned, L74G Luke. The statistical best driver in the league. You could see what he did toward that curb there at turn 1. Coming out of the pits is TB. Gonna give him a slipstream here on the run toward turn number 4. This is a place with a lot of overtaking chances. And the DRS wide open. The battery down below 75%. Now to the sector split past turn 4. The S section, a very tricky section. 28.8 he goes. A little bit of lag, very small. But he comes to turn 8 now. Another tricky section. The curbing right there. Easy to get it wrong. Easy to get it wrong on the traction. Track limits. Going to be a big thing here at turn 9, turn 10. Easy to lock up. Easy to make a mistake. Just a little wide from Luke, but I think it's okay. It's more so to compromise his line. Therefore, he gets a better exit out of 10 and into 11 he goes. Again, another place where you could see overtakes, but not as frequent as other places. Now here he comes to the hill here, where this is another place where drivers last couple games have spun very easily. This game, not so easy. 7-3, final 3 corners, here we come. .5. There you go. We will now watch Surge, your past champion, starting a lap. You know him as Reese Dainty. Some of you know him as RPL Surge. And getting out of the way there of L74G. Almost caused a collision right there. Jack Miles goes fastest. But L74G got out of the way and was just right next to the racing line on Surge right there. Luckily, no collision, but could see the steward's office if anyone feels it was dangerous. The Chiller going fastest now. 8 drivers are clocked in a time, and clocking into Sector 1 is Surge. Just a couple tenths off of Luke. Nothing too badly, but we'll find out where he is in comparison to other sectors. Turn 8 right there. This Alfa Romeo is really good on corner speed, and as far as I'm aware, quite decent on tire wear. As far as yesterday was concerned in Tier 2, JNT making those hards last 31 laps. With only 75% wear, it was projected he was supposed to have 85%. So, either a good tire saver or a car that's a good tire saver. Maybe both. Turn 11 now. Turn 12, up the hill he goes. This Alfa Romeo could be the one, either being barely into Q3 or being barely out of Q3. Here he comes now. 10 drivers clocked in a time. He will be number 11. Okay, sounds good. Yes, it was Owen. He'll have to re-include his audio. That may be why. Either way, Reese goes 8th fastest, so what I noticed in comparison to Luke is that he lost out mainly in the first sector. So even in a car like the Mercedes for Luke, which has terrible straight line speed, Reese was able to do decently. Wow! Oh my god! If anyone should be scared, that is why. Either way, I will invite him back. But that is scary. For Reese, what I noticed, by the way, is he lost mainly out in Sector 1 compared to the other sectors. Scyther is 3rd fastest behind a Chiller. There you go. 28.4 is not very fast, says Gerard, so we'll see what that does. Maybe some drivers just making some mistakes in their banker laps. Everyone is set in a time so far. I will quickly be right back, but one thing I want you to talk about, Owen, in terms of... Yeah, you'll have to re-include your audio, I think. The stream cannot hear you. Alright. What in the world? Okay. Sounds good. Either way, while he does that, I'm going to be right back quickly. The one thing I was going to say before I do so, we're going to watch the car farthest away from the pit lane who is not invalidated. I believe that is Lewis Piper. With that being said, top 3 in the standings from last season, Reese, Scyther, Cryptic. We'll see what happens. I will now be right back. Alright, I am back, and now we're going to watch some laps. My apologies for taking a quick break on you guys. For those who left, I am sorry about that. I really am. And really, this stream started late, so I'm misjumbled. Same thing happened yesterday a little bit. I was just misjumbled throughout yesterday, and I looked back at Tier 2, and I was like, ugh, that's not good. 2 things before we cover Jack Miles' lap. The final F2 champion is Bourbon. The final F2 race ended earlier today. Could be final ever, unless there's that much interest on the next game. We'll find out in terms of that. With that being said, I must say, Cookie thinks he's safe, and no doubt about it, he is. I will say, the F2 race at Bahrain went quite well. You had Reese winning one of them, Bourbon winning one of them, Scyther was on the podium for one of them, actually 2 of them. And Blue Goggy completed the podium for one, and Mythic completed the podium for the other. Very nice to see for that. Tier 2, Owen, 1 from Mercedes. Mercedes back on form there. As for... Let's get him an invite, Owen, since we speak of him. As for them, they're back to winning ways in Tier 2, and they need to be. And I'll tell you why in a little bit. Jack Miles is going purple in the second sector, 2/10 up on the time. We're going to watch the end of this lap because we did not cover it too much throughout the beginning. He's got a teammate of Josh right in front of him. Josh is going to improve to 3rd fastest. Luke improves to 2nd fastest. Also, the McLaren of Scyther going to start a lap, but Jack Miles comes across the line and heads to the pit lane. Now it's Scyther starting a lap. And one thing we wanted to mention, at the end of last season, Boss Cookie ended up changing from Xbox to PC. And once he got that PC, he found tons of pace. And we knew he was fast beforehand. Everyone knew you put him in a top car, and not that he'll dominate, but he will be the fastest. He does tend to bottle it a lot, as he said himself, but the fact of the matter is, with Cookie, is he's really good around this track. And now it's time to see how good his rival this season, potentially, last champion for Mercedes, Scyther, will do. And here we go to turn 10 now. Welcome back, Owen. I cannot hear the stream. Why is it not working? I have an idea. Hold on, I have an idea. Uninclude the audio, and then re-include it. Because I guarantee you that does it sometimes.
Hello. Let's see.
There you go. Awesome.
Oh my
Works.
god, nice.
Amazing.
Oh.
Scyther is up on the time. What is he going to do, Owen? This is his first time for McLaren. He could get a podium with a different team again. Gotta go for pole first.
He's going to crash the car into the grandstands.
He's safely through to Q3 with that lap. No doubt about it. Who else is on a lap? We have Reese Dainty starting a lap. Alfa Romeo driver now. Alfa Romeo's last podium comes with Jack Miles back at Baku last season. We go to Baku again this season. We'll see if Alfa Romeo can get some back-to-back podiums, this time with Surge. Here it comes to turn 4. A tricky section here for Trek Limits on the outside there. A lot of battling ends up happening here. A lot of mistake ends up happening here in the S section. He's looking just fine in this lap, though. On the first lap he did, we noticed the first sector was not so great. I couldn't see where he was at the end of the first sector. Don't know if you could tell me, Owen, but it is looking a lot better from
3 temps up.
Point of view. There you go. It is looking better then. And it's looking better through the times. Everyone improving throughout track evolution. The Aston Martin pulling out of his way. Next he's got a Haas up here who might be giving him some slipstream. Nope, it's getting out of the way. L74G retires from the session, believes he's safe. The top 3 are safe. 5 tenths up is Reese. What can he do in the final couple corners? Can he find some more time to get himself through into Q3? The past champion has proved why he can be put in a higher car, but being in a lower car now for this season to start off is going to be very crucial to prove that he's worthy of a higher car as the past champion. 8th place. Nicely done. Lewis Piper starts a lap. Minute 10 remains. Everybody's going to start crossing the line. We'll watch that, but watch Piper's lap.
Yes, we watched his lap in Q1 where he invalidated near the end of the lap. They passed Mr. Dainty. And then this lap, so he's done a 30.1 initially. That's not a very good lap time for the Aston Martin, I don't believe. He's 4 temps up, so clearly massive mistakes were made in the first sector.
Well, Gecko goes 10th.
Oh, I did not see that.
Very crucial there. Everybody will hit the checkered flag, but if you've invalidated this lap, you're likely out of it. Turn 10, a little lock up there. You saw smoke coming out of the car. Nothing too severe, but we'll see what that does in terms of the times. The first car to cross the line will be a Ferrari. It's either Jack or Josh, but Jack is in the session, so it is him. Either way, sector split. Here we come. Speaking of drivers around Jack, 8th place Korsman retired from the session, believing he's either safe or just can't get it back on a track. 9 tenths up on the time. If he completes this lap, he could be ahead of Korsman. Jack goes P3, so it's looking a lot better now in the second half of the session for drivers matching Cookie. Obviously, Cookie did the one and done, Thomas Ronhart style. Piper comes across the line. It will be Q3 for now. Knocks Korsman down to 9th, so Korsman could be facing elimination. Minico is out, but barely, just behind Surge. Next is Shanghai, and Shanghai is out of it too. Shanghai in the relegation zone could not get to the checkered flag. Pitting, aborting the lap. Next across the line is Formula Cringe on debut. 2 tenths up, could get through. He's not. He does improve the time, but nothing in terms of places.
So,
Red Fire's next.
Temps up.
This could be good. He's got to find time in the last sector. He did find time, but not enough. Gecko not improving, so it's going to be Searles hanging on just barely, as we said. He's either going to barely hang on or barely be out. He is barely hanging on, and he's through to Q3 in the bottom 5. Both Haas's new faces in new places. Minico switching from Mercedes Academy to Haas, with Ferrari Academy. Redfire, Alpine Academy to Ferrari Academy. And then you got Gecko is there as well there. Just barely out too. Formula Cringe, not too far behind. Quite close to Gecko. Redfire, quite close to him. And Shanghai really only got 1 lap there in that session. And something happened on that second lap to where he aborted it, pitted, and did not finish that last lap. So that is him out. Eliminated.
Bad.
4 different teams in the top 4. So those teams are made up of Cookie for Red Bull, Scyther for McLaren, Jack for Ferrari, Luke for Mercedes. Also in is the Chiller making it 2 Red Bulls, Josh making it 2 Ferraris, TB making it 2 Mercedes, Korsman making it 2 McLarens, and the lone Aston Martin of Lewis Piper and the lone Alfa Romeo of Reese, Dainty, RPL Surge. Kicking off the new season quite well for a new team. So, in the elimination zone, Minico, Gecko, Formula Cringe, Red Fire Tiger, and Born in Shanghai. Now, on to Q3, it's time for the chat and ourselves in the commentary box to make some predictions. The Q2 time was a 28.4. We can't go off last season because there was no race here last season. We can only go off of anything tier 2 in terms of pole time. But even we don't have that from last season. So I'll say whoever gets pole is going to be at a 28.0. Maybe a 27.9. As for the top 3, that will be made up of Cookie, Scyther, and I'm going to add Korsman up there because I feel like Korsman's been hiding a little bit. The Chiller will be close. I don't want to kind of take Luke or Jack out of the equation because they've been up there, but I'm sure if there's anyone I'm not including in that top 3 with Korsman, Scyther, and Cookie, I feel like Jack or Luke would be the ones to make a shock surprise for me because, you know, I tend to say 3 drivers, and there's always one that seems to sneak in there as of recent, and that would be one of those 2 who could. But in terms of order, Cookie first, Scyther second, Korsman third.
That is very logical thinking. I'm going to go, obviously, Cookie on pole because he's insane. Let me cook here. Hold on. Screws for second, and then Jack third. I think I'm gonna go for.
So, just for the record, by the way, Luke's trying to go for a pole in a 3rd consecutive season. Scyther for a 5th consecutive season. Darius for a 4th consecutive season. Reese, Surge, not as likely for Alfa Romeo, but would be a 3rd consecutive season. And Jack Miles didn't get a pole last season, but in his last 5 seasons, though, each season he's got a pole. It's only been 1 pole at the most, and you've lagged out again.
Oh, whoops. So I can join back. Fine.
There's an invite if you need one. First lap, the benchmark will be to Chiller. Turn 1 now. Braking very late here. Another spot where you could be battling your competitors. You messed up a little bit there at turn 2. Turn 3, a lot of runoff there for the drivers. Turn 2, a mistake could be made, affecting some track limits, getting yourself some warnings. You don't want that. And now turn 4, we go to here where you clip a little bit of curbing. S section, 28.8. So it's a very mediocre sector 1 from what we've seen so far from the Chiller. Turn 8 now. Braking very, very late. The Mercedes letting them go. Now turn 9, turn 10 area. The heaviest braking on the track, I would say, in terms of some of the short straights. You can see the smoke right there. Not too much of a lockup this time compared to Lewis Piper. DRS applied. Run down to turn 11, clipping the curbs, trying to find anywhere he can arc the corner and find time. Darius now you saw a little bit of a wiggle right there. That's going to affect him just a little bit. We'll see what the benchmark is when the other drivers set the time, but he's going at a 7-1. Now, the second to last braking zone is complete for him. Did that quite neat. And so far, he's been flying, but there's definitely a 10th or a little more than a 10th in the lap from what we've seen so far. Final 2 corners. This one, another tricky one. You can easily make mistakes, run out wide. He didn't do that, though. Coming to the line, the benchmark is a 29-1. That's the time to beat. Next across the line will be Luke. Luke has TB right there. What's he going to do? Luke goes at a 28-9 provisional pole. Next is McLaren. That is Korsman, who has not been anywhere so far the first 2 sessions, but he's invalidated, so that's why he's not been anywhere. He's had mistakes that have prevailed him from being up in the top 5-4 area. Scyther, who's been up there, can he go provisional pole? You bet. 28-4. Fastest of anyone. Lewis Piper across the line. He's got some podiums for McLaren. He's going to get a 4th place starting spot so far for Aston Martin. Josh goes P2. He's never had a pole. And next across the line is everyone's driver that they're watching. It's Boss Cookie. Cookie is starting a lap, though, because he had made a mistake on the first one. Now he's going to start the second one and make it count. Surge across the line to go. 6th fastest, not far behind Lewis Piper, but slowest of the representative lap times, and now we watch Cookie.
Jack Miles seems to be coming through to finish his lap time. Needs to be mentioned, Korsman's lap he invalidated was quicker than Skizfer's lap, interestingly enough, only by around half a second, or if not half a second, half a tenth. Pardon me, and Jack, who's clear of his teammate, 3 off Skizfer's lap time.
Cookie's mistake either comes from the 2nd or 3rd sector because he was only improving in the first one by a 10th or 2. With that being said, you have other drivers completing laps now. TB comes across the line to be 6th fastest. And now, here goes Cookie, turn 11. We're going to see what the sector split is. Obviously, the first time he set was miles off. Korsman coming in, so he'll be 1 and done when he does his lap. Cookie is improving by 7 seconds. 5/10 off the fastest time. Now, where is that time in the last sector, though? Because technically it was a benchmark here with the first one of the 2 laps. He was trying to prepare himself for this lap because the mistake he made in the first half the lap now comes across the line. Boss Cookie is going to be the boss of Bahrain once again. Clear the rest of the field. 27-8. That is extremely good from him. Wow.
Speechless.
I really am. I thought he was going to be dominant, but I did not think he was going to be this dominant.
What was?
No doubt about that.
I'm gonna do some research. I'm gonna go check what was the pole time last season.
Oh,
not
have to
last
check last
season.
game then.
Last game, yeah. Well,
If-
that won't help.
If we find it to be, I mean, there was what? It was different handling models, so it's going to be a little bit similar, but who knows? I don't know. I'm trying to think because it wasn't like it was older cars, but it was definitely a different handling model because this is completely different for the drivers. And in fact, the last time we were here, Boss Cookie put it on pole in Bahrain, I believe.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I want to look here at something just to kind of put it out there for people wondering. You got Luke, who won the Season 3, Season 4, and Season 5 opening round. The Season 5 one being in Bahrain. TB, Season 9, Round 1 winner last season. And Cookie won Bahrain last time we were here in Season 8. Jack was the pole sitter for the opening round in Season 7. And DeChiller was pole sitter for the opening round in Season 9.
Boss Cookie's lap time last time we were at Bahrain was a 1:27.757.
That was in a Ferrari, wasn't it?
That was in a Ferrari. So he's not
Hmm.
actually beat his time from last game. But I think this
Last
game is slower, is it not?
I don't know if it is or not. I mean, someone like Scyther or Cookie, the faster drivers, could clarify for us. But as far as I know, then the Ferrari was slower than the Red Bull last game, and there you go. I mean, he must have thought that lap was
He
that good.
thinks he's Sebastian Vettel and Max Verstappen. Here we go.
Well, is he though? I mean, the one league I watched him do on Sunday last week, they did say he's the Max Verstappen of that league. Are we seeing the Max Verstappen of RPL for a smart or a small bit of time?
Florian needs an invite, apparently. There we go. I don't know if he's in or because he sent me that like 5 minutes ago.
All right. It's just taking me back to messages from way far back. I don't know why. I'm ego retiring, says Cookie. That is why. I wasted 3 hours practicing only for y'all to do mid 28s. Interesting. Well, by the way, if you're a driver coming out on track, if you want to avoid traffic and maybe have a chance for a second one, 2-minute 30 is when you're going to want to come out at the latest. I mean, trying to think. Either way, 9 drivers will have a shot at this. 1 has not set a time yet. Getting your predictions now. When well, we'll see what happens with Cookie, because if we can have something similar to, I don't know, 2022 in real life, someone put the challenge to, let's say it was what, Verstappen at turn 1, like Leclerc did, then we know we have a fight on our hands, like we thought in 2022 in real life at this track.
Oh, just hoping everyone's laps were really bad, because he did a 27.8 on 2-lap worn softs. And everyone else did a lap on fresh softs. So, I'm interested in seeing what can happen. Darius is 1.3 seconds down on his teammate. I didn't think that would be possible.
Well, to be fair to him, he is 7/10 off a Scyther. He does need to improve the pace, but if he ends up this session being only 6/10 off Cookie, I don't think that's a bad thing at all. Unless the lap times were that bad. You have Titan giving predictions, you have Invade chatting in chat, and we have final laps now getting underway. If Josh makes a mistake on this lap at some point, he can get in a second lap, but he's going to be the only one who can do so. Everyone else will make it across the line, and it will be their final laps. Here comes Josh through turn 4. Once we get to turn 8, we'll have you take it away. 2/10 up on the time. So this could indicate some of these first laps were not so great. The S section, as we mentioned, very tricky. You got to improve the lap time. Turn 8 right there toward the curb, but not onto the curb until the exit.
Into the hard braking zone. No, not using like 100% brake pressure at all there. Only going to 80% maximum, and now onto the the third DRS straight now actually. Braking at the 50-meter board. This is a very tricky corner to find the correct turning in point. Very easy to go turn too early, or even go very wide. He's now gone 4 times up, so he'll be pressurizing Scusser as it stands, but he'll not be anywhere near Mr. Cookie's lap time at all. Into the final corner, here we come. Very early on the throttle of power down. Get the DRS open as soon as possible. And it goes P2 for the time being, but it will plummet.
Best qualifying yet for him. The Chiller is third fastest. That's around where he should be. Nicely done from him. 6/10 off the teammate. So he has found time. Now coming through the sector split is Korsman. 6-5. Scyther as well. Improved a 10th in the first sector. So Scyther's the closest one currently to Cookie. Can Cookie continue to be the boss of Bahrain? He's looking so good so far, but now we still have the checkered flag out and drivers remaining to cross the line. Korsman one and done. Can it be one and done on pole? Korsman crosses the line. It's going to be front row. Surge is next. 3/10 up. trying to avoid to be last. Of the 10 runners still left, could be 9th over Lewis Piper, comes across the line. He does do that. Nicely done. Now it's Scyther who comes across the line to go front row ahead of the teammate. Jack Miles comes next, 4/10 up. Can he go ahead of DeChiller and Josh? You bet he can. Very close, 2nd to 6th. Now here comes Luke and TB. TB is 7th. Can Luke get ahead of the teammate? Currently down in the sector that he's currently in, but unless anyone pulls anything out of the bag, it's looking like a cookie pole position by 3.5 tenths. Luke comes across the line just behind the teammate, found time in the last sector. Lewis Piper improves to 8th to get ahead of the Mercedes of Luke. Nicely done there, but it is Cookie. Last time he was here, he was on pole position back in season 7. A second pole for him around that time in that same season. This time it's a 3rd pole. Red Bull now have got 75 pole positions in RPL F1.
Oh my god. Well, the pole gap isn't as big as it originally, was looking. It was looking crazy, but still almost 4 temps to Skizzer. You just have to applaud him, really. That is absolutely stellar lap time from Cookie, and it's a All-American front row. Woohoo!
Hey, my American flag blanket's in the background. I took it out because it is getting cold this time of year. So maybe there was some good luck at that. I don't know. Maybe. Hey, maybe it's a jinx then. Do good in qualifying, do bad in the race. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll see. Strategy time. Let's talk about that quickly. As always, a simple one-stop. Soft, hard, medium, hard. You can do the reverse strategy as well. Soft mediums is likely, but it's a Hail Mary at that point. Your hard tires will go 2/3 of the race. The soft tires, a good 1/3 of the race. But it's not really the best tire after 7 to 8, maybe 10 laps at the most. You lose 23 seconds in the pit stops, and you gain back only 15% in the pit lane, so drivers have to be very careful when they want to maximize the battery.
It looks like, at the time being, the top 3 are all starting on mediums. Jack is on hards. The 2 Ferraris are on hards. So they're going for a long opening stint. TB and Lewis Piper on the hard compound tyre, and Luke is currently on the medium tyres. Obviously, these can change from the start of the Grand Prix. And we go. Start of the Grand Prix.
X marks the spot, season 10, also X, here we go, lights out, away we go, and Cookie had a little bit of wheel spin off the line, but that's not going to affect him too badly, side by side between the 2 McLarens, which one's going to chase him down to turn 1, side by side they go, Scyther doesn't go for any lunges, you can see the Haas in the background, locking up, rear locking, the Alfa Romeo had to avoid it, that was Groggers, also Tadpole came into the session late, is also at the back of the grid in 20th trying to gain spots, now Cookie has almost a second gap here for the lead as they follow behind 3 wide. The Aston Martin gonna have big balls and send it. That's Lewis Piper. Lewis Piper already up to P6, and DeChiller has lost tons of places, and around they go. That's multiple cars around. The Haas of Minico, virtual safety car, DeChiller involved, Formula Cringe involved. At the back of the grid was Surge being fully spun around, and now last. They all were okay until turn 4. Wow.
Sorry, I was on a phone call to my mother. But yes, a hectic start, a disastrous start for the Chiller. I don't know if you've mentioned it yet or not, but Minico's got 0 front wing on his car. So, this is not good. Oh.
We had Jack Miles sitting behind Korsman and Scyther ducking out. Obviously, with the tires you now see Cookie on the softs. And we can barely see the front straight because the amount of blurriness With that being said, in the background, the Chiller was getting Red Fire Tiger. Duck into the pit lane is a car further behind, but Josh is getting overtaken by Lewis Piper with a really great start for Aston Martin on the medium tires. He's the second highest medium runner. That could be why. Scyther, the only one going to be in DRS by the end of lap 2 as of right now. And then it's a 3-car breakaway from 6th on back. Few more battles further behind. It looks to be the Chiller getting Shanghai back up the order. Does the Chiller have damage? It looked like he had an end plate missing. KVS also got wavy, but the Chiller doesn't have an end plate missing. But he was the one a part of that sandwich getting turned the opposite direction from the way he wanted to go in that turn 4 melee.
I did not catch any good views of it at all. I was looking at the front of the field, and at the front of the field we just saw Cookie pull away.
Almost 2 seconds. He is really confident with his pace. There's no doubt about that. And
is he doing a two-stop?
He has continued to be amazing. If he is going for a 2-stop, it's got a lot of confidence.
He almost just spun.
Could be why he lost time, but he's currently setting the fastest lap. DRS now going to be enabled. Lap number 3 of this race. The 2 pitted, Minico and Formula Cringe. Further back, both went on mediums. Here we go. Second place, DRS on the run toward turn 4. How about on the run toward turn 1? The Chiller breezing past Formula Cringe gets the place there. A little farther up front, L74G taking advantage of Josh, who's made a mistake. Here comes TB in the back now. Going to be side by side on the run toward turn 4. Down the inside is TB. Side by side, Josh is now lagged out, so that's why he's losing the time. And Gecko, who's had an amazing start, up 3 spots, make it 4, getting ahead of Josh. Josh will need an invite, as here's the rest of the spots gained.
On the ball with the invitations, don't worry.
Absolutely not what he needed. 6 spots for Florian, needed that one. 3 spots for Shanghai, 5 for KVS, 5 for Tadpole. The big losers, obviously, are Surge, Minico, Formula Cringe, and a Chiller. I'm not going to mention Josh because he really wasn't involved in anything lap 1, but he lost out because of that lag out, and now is outside the points and continuing to trail further back. The Chiller on the back of Gecko here as we head toward the final corner. He is really hitting him up, and he needs these places back. The Chiller has something to prove in this Red Bull regardless because of Cryptic's expectations for him. Down the inside, side by side, the Chiller gives room. He's still going to be side by side out of the corner. Almost contact the Chiller ahead. In front of that, Jack Miles trying to put up some pressure to third place Korsman. Can't do so. Florian again, one of the other drivers to lag out. Now it's the second driver in the last 2 laps to lag out. The Chiller hangs on for the place, but Gecko is going to pressurize him to want it back. DRS now to turn 4, can't get it. Oops, Shanghai made a little mistake, wiggles, and now Red Fire Tiger wants to get past, can't get through here in the tricky S section. He's going to have to send one from far back if he wants to, but they're both negotiating their way through Josh, who is trying to join back. Red Fire, Shanghai get through. Now it's KVS too, trying to do the same. Turn 10. Very tricky section where Red Fire's hit the back of Shanghai. Contact made, and both cars backing up one another. KVS is going to take advantage of both. Through he goes. Now here comes... Wow, Shanghai. Very sideways. Maybe a bit of lag, but saving it. Tadpole goes off the road. Joins back on. Going to be side by side with the Ghost car here. It's all kicking off outside the points here because they know for 10th place in that DRS train with Florian is points right up the road.
Yeah, I'm trying to invite half the field.
Issues here. Out of the final corner. That is me lagging out.
What?
I've lagged out.
You're fine.
Oh my god.
Down to turn 4. And nothing is happening. No collisions. Oh, but the ass of Red Fire Tiger is driving his car around the circuit.
Radio call. We got radio call right now, and we'll be back in this session in just 60 seconds. I hate this kind of thing. This happened not too long ago too. I'm pretty sure.
I think it's actually a genuine issue with the Just
Xbox
check.
servers.
Yes, the Xbox servers. I was testing my network
Yeah.
connection. There we go. Yeah, says your network is good, but there are some Xbox service issues. So I don't think Xbox servers are just having an issue at the moment. So,
It's unfortunate for a season opener.
yes, indeed, it is very frustrating. It happens on this day. It's probably due to the absolute monumental traffic from the Fortnite event today.
Can you imagine if that's what caused it?
I hope it isn't, because I'm looking to get on the game to buy the gritty. You know, so hopefully it's
True.
Hopefully it's going to be fixed soon. The two Mercedes cars are wheel and line to Stearns.
Hey, if you're watching, please stay with us. We'll be back in just a moment. Fail to join the session. Oh no! I need another invite.
Game is rigged. Send many.
Maybe
As many as you
this
need.
one will be okay.
Currently, there's a wheel-to-wheel battle between and the KVS. So Florian hits KVS very marginally, and he's lost a position out to Red Tiger for B12. And now coming down into turn 10, Red Fire is through. Sorry, it wasn't Florian. Oh, no, it was Florian. It was one in Shanghai that made the contact with Florian. Sorry, I'm used to Florian being in the Aston Martin. My apologies. No, Tadpole is smelling blood from the green Aston Martin. But the straight line speed is not there. Speaking of smelling blood, TB is frustrated to be stuck behind his teammate. And the gap to the lead is now 4.7 seconds. So Cookie is dominating. And I believe there's going to be an overtake possibility between TB and Mr. Luke.
Back in. I will let you know when it's fully loading in.
TB is just sitting
For our
behind his
viewers
teammate, waiting.
who turned off. Our apologies.
Oh, and a movement of a skis for Red Corsman, wheel-to-wheel racing. 2 years Corsman through. And now Jack Miles are looking to get a little bit of the action here as they swabble. And Corsman is free as we come to the S section. Yes, this is Radio RPL here. Tadpole has lined out of the session once again.
Wow. Now we get to the battle with Courseman Scythe. DRS down toward turn 11. Corsman is the one in front. Luke also has a bit of a train. We seem to have two trains forming in the points. One for the podium places, one for a top 5. Do I need to have tires on? I don't think so. We know what tires everyone's on it when you could look at the car. Either people are either on soft with Cookie or the rest of the field on hard and mediums. Gone on and off the stream. My apologies. Either way, Scyther coming back. Corsman gonna try to hang on over Jack. Over Jack. Now you got TB and Luke who traded spots there, it looked like, for P5. Move. Contested right there.
Getting a little
Yellow flags.
watchy with Corsman's
Turn.
rear end.
Where is that?
Oh, Brennan Sage!
Yes. Last place outside the point, or first place, excuse me, outside the points. Got 5 cars in this train. Yeah, 5 cars. 2 of them teammates. 3 a part of the Ferrari Academy. Lewis Piper, first one to pick up a penalty for track limits. Multiple warnings, so he's been a naughty boy and exceeded the track limits way too many times. Six-second gap. Do you think he's trying to go for the one-stop or the two-stop now, Owen? Because he could try to go soft hards here.
He could do the soft hards. That's a very good point, but I think we're at the era of ego boosting for Cookie, so I think he's going to go for a two-stop to try and show that, oh, look, I am that quick. I can do a slower strategy and still win the race. That's just the qualifying sessions what gives me that impression. As Jack is wrestling with Corsman. Wheels right, 6 through 33, over the margin contact, down to the 4 we come. Both of them are going to
battery
DRS.
Being deployed.
Jack on inside.
Turn 4 inside line. Can he keep it? Side by side. Jack is out ahead.
Brilliant.
He's splitting the two McLarens now. So, see, this is the interesting thing now. You know, take it from a constructor's point of view, because we'll be looking at it all season like this. I know Ferrari don't have both cars in the points, with Josh being back there now. But, take it could be Red Bull McLaren, right? McLaren have their cars second and fourth as Formula Cringe becomes the second driver to pick up a penalty. Second and fourth they are, right? That's 30 points. Cookie's got 25 out in the lead, and the Chiller's now got 4. A performance like that from the Chiller is what can take points off for Red Bull in terms of the Constructors' Championship. Cookie's been a very great driver, so he'll probably get the Drivers' Championship if this season ends up the way we've seen it throughout just one round so far and 9 laps and a qualifying session. But throughout a team aspect, Scyther and Korsman are going to take points off of one another and could get the Constructors' title instead of Red Bull. Just a big thing to look at this season. We'll find out if that's true or not. And Josh's AI has retired.
Back.
Yeah. I don't think that's him because he's retired on track.
No, he did come back. Maybe he just retired and then left because he rejoined and saw he was in P18.
I don't think so, because the same thing happened recently to someone else, I feel like.
Well, that's unfortunate anyway. He's out of the Grand Prix now.
First retirement. Not a lot of places for runoff here, but his AI has found a place. Whether it was his choice to retire or not, I doubt it. I think this is the same thing, where he came in, and what it did is the game retired his car. Did the same thing to KVS, I think, in Q1. Yeah, so Josh just said he had a power cut, then wouldn't let him take control when he came back in.
So, lovely video game this is. He said, yeah, he just tried to leave and rejoin and the car the game just blew up his car. So, once again, brilliant coding from the Code of Masters.
Called that for a reason. It's just absolutely world class, really. Yeah,
the Florian Surge battle is still cooking. For 0 points, but it is cooking.
You know what? And the thing is, too, is you got Lewis Piper up there with a penalty. You got a Williams running on the points. I will say, you could very well see this become the points soon. KVS in the back of Gecko. Florian now has 6 cars behind, or 5 cars behind him, hounding him. It's a 6-car train on the run toward turn 1. And with KVS running the points, we could mention that Alpine, as he takes the place, Alpine have had points in 8 of the last 10 races, so very hopeful for him to know that. Now on the run toward turn 4, here comes Groggers on Shanghai. Side-by-side action right there. Gonna go wheel-to-wheel toward turn 4 now. They remain side-by-side. They lock wheels. Off the road goes Shanghai. Red Fire now takes advantage, is ahead, but Tadpole couldn't do the same right there that everyone else could. He's going to have to wait till turn 8. Can he throw one down the inside? You bet he will. Goes for it. Locks up the brakes, but nothing too severe. It looks like it's Shanghai who's looking for a switchback, but can't make anything from it.
Interesting. Roggers using the event notes to his advantage and pushing Born in Shanghai off the circuit, which resulted in losing 2 extra positions. Mr. Shanghai will be upset.
10 points the last 3 races for that team. And that battle with Shanghai and them, they're at the very back of the train. If they want to catch that battle, that is where the last point spot will be. Gecko, L74G, the first one to blink of the drivers who want to pit or could pit. And this is around the time they would be. He's going from mediums to hards.
Cookie is still extending the gap at this stage in the race, which is absolutely crazy considering his softs are 12 lap born. As ludicrous.
I mean, Mercedes and Red Bull, they scored points every round last season. We'll see if they can do the same. Tadpole gets Luke coming out of the pits, but Shanghai around the outside can't get the place. Now he'll have to rely on Luke to get through this pack of cars quite easily.
Lucas pitted into probably the worst position imaginable in this massive train. And, because he's the league owner, here we go. People just leading their racing lines for him. They're terrified of him.
Maybe. Could
I
be
want to
some
see
people
someone
like
push
that.
him off the circuit. Come on, let's see it. Oh, Red
Gotta
gives
use
a bit
your event
racing.
notes to the advantage. Is Redfire going to defend this one? He knows he's not in the faster car compared to Luke, but he does have a little bit more straight line speed in that Haas. He's using a bit of the battery. Luke has DRS. Luke is going to slingshot past and get the place. That's about all he could do.
Would have been a waste of time if you were going to battle Luke. There's no point. He's a pissed up Eddie, quicker car.
The good thing for Redfire now
smart,
is he could sit behind him and try to catch the pack from it. Lewis Piper, the next one to blink.
Yes, Red using all of his DRS to try to stay within the DRS range of a down 7-G. When will Lewis Piper come out? Will he be in this behind this queue of cars? Or will he be in the middle of it?
Luke has jumped him. Shanghai is in too. Double stack from Aston Martin. That's a little unusual. Luke locked up there at turn 1. Went a little wide. But luckily didn't compromise his line too much because now he's going to fight after Serge and Florian who are battling. Now to turn 4. Florian goes defensive and now tries to go around the outside of Serge. Can't do so. Here's Luke to take advantage. Inside line there at the S's. Couldn't do so. Shanghai's going to come out behind Minico. Now, Luke. Ooh, left to right. Right on the inside line. Goes through and is ahead. But Serge is going to challenge back. Can't get the move done. Luke into the points now once again. But remember, most of the field still yet to pit. Now Florian goes wide, locks up the brakes, and now here comes Serge. His opportunity is right now on him in this little battle they've had. Inside line, turn 11. They continue to go wheel to wheel, and it's Florian coming out ahead. But a costly mistake from him.
Yeah. Florian absolutely bottling what could have been brilliant for him because if L74G was behind him, he could have been able to try and use his DRS on him fed from Reese, but because he made such a mistake, such a big mistake, the gap is over a second already. So here comes Reese.
Lewis Piper, Tadpole battle in the background as well, but in front of that, you got Serge and Florian at the front of this train. Trading spots once again. It's Serge in front. And remember, they're both on the strategy where you're going to pit and do a one-stop, but... Oh! Very defensive move there. He was trying to protect the place very egregiously. Again, we were saying, Serge and hards, mediums for Florian. Side by side now to the S's. You don't want to do that. Florian ahead. And also, Lewis Piper picked off Redfire Tiger, but he does have a penalty. Now he's got to drag these cars behind him along and catch up to DRS, which he's almost in. Cookie is gone. 13 laps in the softs, and that's toward puncture territory with this car. But he is making everything from it.
His tires are absolutely shattered. Here he comes into the pit lane. He's probably going to go mediums. He is going mediums.
Interesting. The soft to medium's Hail Mary that we mentioned. That is not likely as possible, but he is going to do it. And he's going to come around the 6th place position when he exits the pit lane. Here he is.
KVS and the Alpine will come out a little bit behind him, so no fighting with the Red Bull of Cookie. Cookie's only 4 seconds behind his teammate after he made a pit stop. So unfortunately for Darius, he's having a bit of a Sergio Perez first race this season.
Ooh. Round the outside. Gonna be pinched to the curb. Florian gonna give him room for turn number 2, and it's Lewis Piper ahead. Easily done. Serge as well ended up pitting there. No, he didn't. Why did the game say he didn't? He just fell back there.
I'll be back in a second. I'm going to restart my game just.
That is very odd.
Still on the commentating though.
Shanghai and Minico trade spots. That is so odd. We've seen so many glitches today. I am really going to lose some brain cells from that. I really am going to lose brain cells, and I'm actually not joking this time. Because I don't know how Reese just went to 15th right there from that. That doesn't make sense. Unless he legged back, but he didn't pit. Which it looked like he pitted, but he didn't. Because he was right behind Florian, and he let Lewis Piper go, it looked like, to battle after there, but there was no car to be seen right there. That was weird. Gecko comes in for Williams. Owen, do you need an invite back?
I'll be fine. I can join through someone's profile. Don't you worry, mate.
Alrighty. The AlphaTauri pit crew is also out. Gecko comes away quite clean. Hard tires for him. Florian went 15 laps in those mediums. The drivers who are on the mediums could still get a couple more laps out of them. But Florian is going to the softs. And couldn't make it the rest of the way. You just got to be very careful in that tire management. Redfire gets Tadpole, and now Cookie through into Chiller.
You have to do on new soft tires.
Let's find out if he could do it. Can only prove people wrong, as Florian has been saying so far. P10 right now. Yet to pit as well, Redfire and Tadpole. Still close to one another, but we saw position traded earlier in the lap. Not going to be done again later in the lap as of right now. And now we see if any of the leaders come in, because this will be important to watch. Scyther on the mediums could be coming in. Stays out. It's Jack who's in for Ferrari. TB as well for Mercedes. Chiller stays out again too. And now KVS is in for Alpine. Having a neat little race for them in his RPL return.
So I've actually been quite impressed with KVS, because obviously we haven't seen him race in
too.
quite some time.
I am too. He's going to come out around the battle he was in, which now sees Tadpole ahead of Redfire, because Redfire is ducked out to the pit lane. Wavy 2. So everybody getting their pit stops out of the way, and it must be said, besides the VSC and the 1 DNF, we've had a clean race. And the last time we had 1 DNF in an RPL race, you have to go back to Zandvoort last season. And Zandvoort last season, it was Red Bull winning.
Interesting.
And here goes Florian on Shanghai. Turn 2. Gets the move done. So a quiet race. Really just some DRS battles, but everyone getting places with ease, it seems, as of the current moment. It's easy to say it's a very competitive RPL season, but we'll find out by Saudi how Cookie is at a track other than Bahrain.
He's almost caught Korsman already, so
he's only got 1 win.
He is very
in
quick.
RPL. Scyther's in. The Chiller's in. Scyther on softs. Revert strategy, but is it enough to catch up to Cookie? We got TB and Lewis Piper as well in the background. On the front straight, TB's got DRS. On the run to turn 1, Lewis Piper has a penalty to spare. And TB breezes past with the help of the rear wing and is ahead. KVS as well, swapping with a teammate because Tadpole is in. The Chiller comes out and is going to be P8. Now here comes Luke and Scyther. Scyther getting the place over Luke. Luke had a nice little undercut there because he's got Jack Miles. And he was around that TB and Lewis Piper area. So Luke, this undercut's paid off quite well for him. And now, here we go. Cookie and Korsman for the lead. Is Korsman going to help the teammate and maybe hold up Cookie? But the gap between Cookie and Scyther, 16 seconds.
And I'm getting back into the lobby.
Would you say this is one of the most dominant wins in RPL? If he pulls this off?
I mean,
it's up there.
I died. My memory doesn't go far back enough, unfortunately. But yes, I'd say it was definitely up there.
Alright. Interesting.
It's absolutely domination. He's already, he's got pissed up gap in his rivals already.
Yeah, that's insane.
I'm excited for the He Must Be Cheating Brigade.
Yeah.
I'm awaiting it.
Hey, it was Cryptic who said there's a chance at Korsman, and he won't be saying it with Cookie because it's his own driver, but we'll find out what they have to say about Cookie now once this race ends. We got a DRS battle from P3 to P5. Korsman, by the way, is still staying out, maybe banking on a safety car, and as of the way this race is going, only one VSC, so maybe it's the case, maybe it's not. Whoa! Minico wanted to pit, but Tadpole wanted to make the move, and that got treacherous. Redfire also getting Roggers on the 14th spot on the track. Move complete. Jack Miles now with Luke. Jack Miles looks to the inside. Side by side into turn 11. Is Jack Miles going to get out ahead? Last of the late breakers. He is ahead.
Very nice move. Obviously, the tire gap between the two cars is obviously drastic at this stage in the race. But it looks like Jack now is going to be fighting to get out ahead of TS Coulson.
Of course,
he's going to be chucking on the soft compound tire as well as his teammate. As we see, Christopher takes the first lap of the Grand Prix. So, extra points from see Coulson's going to come out in a major position.
Wow.
Loss.
That is farther back than I
is it?
expected. Wow.
Here we go.
Yeah, here we go.
You're racing with him.
Yeah, here we go.
Oh,
the
fresh
Chiller
off, so this is a
almost running the back of him. These two are on the charge now, Owen, and they need it badly because they lost. I mean, Korsman especially lost out bigly. Whoa!
Chiller almost running into the back of Coulson there, it appeared to be. But yes, pardon me again. Both drivers on the soft compound tire. All the cars in front of them are on worn mediums or hards. Well, some of them are for Jack and TV are on fresh mediums. Piper and Luke are on relatively worn hard compound tires. So I think the goal now, of course, winning the Chiller here is to try and get third. So they will be they're gonna have to be racing each other and the rest of the field here on much slower tires. This is gonna be interesting.
Honestly, if they could make everything out of these soft tires, they are in the two fastest cars, the McLaren and the Red Bull. They can realistically end up battling for the podium by the end of this race. Depends on what their tires do and how fast they are. You got the Chiller looking, but obviously not going to go for it in the last corner. Both are going to get DRS now on Lewis Piper, who has a penalty to spare. Battery being used from DeChiller. No battery from Korsman. Korsman ducking out. And now we're about to go 3 abreast. Here comes DeChiller following suit, but not going to make the move just yet. Will he make the move by turn 1? He's going to pull to the outside line. Try to find a way past. Can't do it. It's Korsman who takes over P6. DeChiller P7. And now he has DRS on the run toward turn 4. Can he find a way past now? As he's in the slipstream. Ducking out. Not going to make the move, though. Lewis Piper there fell from 6th to 8th. And those span of events, and Reese is finally in.
The player needs to be careful not to use all of DRS. Fighting Korsman, and he needs to save it all, overtaking the 2 Mercedes cars that he's going to be catching very shortly. They've got quite good DRS conservation up there at Mercedes. They're around the 30s and 20s percent. Chiller is in the high teens, and then Jack Miles as well. He's in the 50% ERS. So if that's the goal for the Chiller and TS Gordon, they're going to have to conserve the ERS, stop battling each other, and just use each other to get through. And then once they're in 3rd and 4th, then they should start battling. But for the time being, they're not catching as much as I suspected.
We'll see what happens with these guys. It must be said that Korsman has got a podium in 4 of his last 6 races, going full-time for this season for McLaren. We'll see how that goes. The 2 teammates up in front of that, they will catch, but will they pass? Catching's one thing, passing is another, and here goes TB passing by Luke. Gets the place here for P4. In the background, you have Korsman, only 2 seconds off of this. Everyone is pitted, with Reese pitting, by the way, so no one to worry about there. And he came out P17. You know, it's interesting how Scyther has also gone soft to medium, but he did it the revert strategy, whereas Cookie did it soft to medium here. And just another thing as well to mention, McLaren with Scyther currently on the podium. Their last podium in a season opener goes all the way back to season 6. So we'll see how that works out for them. Mercedes have had 4 poles in Bahrain. Couldn't get a pole tonight, but they could definitely get themselves with both cars in the top 5 if they could just hang on. Maybe a little unrealistic, but we'll see how they both work together now as they lead a 4-car pack. 36 races ago. The last time they didn't have points, and now round is Shanghai.
I don't see any visible damage. Looks to just be a spin. So it should be okay to continue. Here we go. Korsman is flashing. Him and each other are on minor ERS levels now.
Luke's lucky to have the DRS now down to turn 4. Korsman gonna try to attack around the outside this time. Here he goes with the fresher tires, side by side with Luke. And in the smallest of areas, the smallest of gaps, he gets through for P5. Oh, DeChiller's not going to pick him off. Can he find a way past? He's got better tires. He's got to follow Korsman if he wants to get up to a podium place in the last couple laps. Can't do it. Not yet, at least. Korsman, DRS, and TB. DeChiller, DRS on Luke. Korsman not dumping any battery, but has the rear wing open. And DeChiller also can't get through just yet. Groggers, by the way, while we were talking, had a 5-second penalty for ignoring the yellow flag, so he must have overtaken under yellow flags or something happened there whenever Shanghai spun, because that's what it was the cause of.
Yes, I'm assuming while Shanghai was spun around, the yellow flag was out and George overtook him. But he'll probably get that removed if he sends it in.
I would assume so. 2 battles. Mercedes leading both of them. And here goes Korsman. Right side, side by side. DeChiller in the background, also side by side. It's Korsman ahead. And De Chiller, close quarter racing. So far with all his battles, he's got ahead for P6. Now he has to chase after TB, who has DRS now on Korsman to try to challenge back. But he just can't challenge back because that's all he could do.
Off tire working well for Korsman, the special 8. De Chiller obviously struggling a little bit because he got held up by us and Borgia a good extra bit. He's got to drive all night and not lose too much ground to Korsman because Korsman will be catching Jack. We've got 5 laps or so to go. There is time for a podium in this for De Chiller.
Find out. He's got a couple more laps to get by TB, and then he'll see if there's a realistic chance or not. You got Korsman, who's got a 2.4 second gap to Jack. Last season, it was Red Bull, Aston Martin, who made up the podium in the season opener at Australia. And in Bahrain, last time we were here for season 7, the podium was made up by Red Bull, Ferrari, Red Bull. Tonight it looks to be 3 different teams as of the current moment. But if Korsman can find a way past Jack, it will be 2 different teams, except compared to a 1-2 last season, it's a 2-3, and it's for McLaren this time.
Oh, easy stuff here. Cookie is losing marginal time to Scusser, which is crazy because last season and the season before that, Scusser in this position right now, he'd be leading the race, but he's still seconds up the road, got another driver ahead of him, which is just absolutely insane to even consider as a possibility. But
Korsman is...
and it is happening.
Sorry. I was going to say, Korsman is catching Jack, and it's not at a super fast rate. I mean, he's just caught a little bit there in a spot maybe the Ferrari struggles, or at least Jack struggled for a moment, because now he's gone from 1.9 to 1.6, but I was going to say he wasn't catching at a fast rate compared to what I thought. I will say, however, the interesting thing is that he is catching him, but catching's one thing, passing's another. And he's really got to hope for the fact that Korsman's tires falls off, Jack does. Jack has to hope for that. Whereas Korsman, he could realistically get by Jack, and then the others behind have to push to at least have a chance at Korsman. Because right now, the gap with Korsman and Jack, 1.5, but TB is hanging on barely when DRS, but De Chiller's not getting by like he needs to set his sights up for Korsman, which could be the podium place as Serge and Shanghai trade spots in the further end of the points, or further end of outside the points.
TB sticking to this, sticking a Korsman a lot better than I thought he would be doing. I would have guessed that he would have got overtaken by now by the Chiller. But, yes, TB benefiting majorly from this at the moment. Luke, not so much. He's being gapped very heavily, so he'll be finishing best possible P7 in this Grand Prix. But yes,
you see, Jack just struggles through there.
Anyone on the podium.
Sorry to cut in. I just noticed every time that's the only place Korsman's gained time on Jack really insignificantly. He just lost 3/10 there. Korsman must have made a mistake himself, but I think he can catch Jack, but can he pass him? It's the one thing you need.
Jack has got 67% ERS to Korsman's 17%, so an extra 50% in Jack's. Or sorry, extra. Is it 60 or 50? No, hold on. Let me do the math.
67.
Jack it is 50. It is an extra 50. Yeah. Yes. So Jack's got half an ERS tank full over Korsman behind, so he should be relatively safe-ish when the attack comes. If the attack comes, or is it going to stay like this the whole rest of the race? Jack's using some of the tank, ERS tank, to try and make sure that he does not get within 1 second of Mr. Cole.
TB gaining, but can't make the overtake into turn number 1. It looks like De Chiller's also right there to pounce, but not close enough for the overtake as well. He needs a mistake from TB, but De Chiller makes a mistake himself, picking up a penalty.
Oh, he's such a buffoon. He always does this. He never.
The Alfa Romeo teammates also swap as well for P15. And Formula Cringe, the only driver right now to get lapped in this race, still in it. To Chiller. Why? That's what I mean.
Makes up his own track. Just give this man a paper and a pen, and he will reinvent the circuit every single week.
I've got a paper and pen in my hand. I'll hand it over to him. Shanghai comes into the pit lane and could be going for fastest lap or giving up, but the two Alfa Romeo teammates are having a little bit of a battle here. Ding dong battle once again with the Alfa Romeo teammates into turn number 4, where they were overtaking in the first sector the last time. Surge back ahead. Groggers wants the switcheroo, can't get the traction, so it's Surge ahead. Shanghai and Cringe both pitting, likely going for fastest lap. The current fastest lap is Scyther's.
Well, I'll probably very unlikely for them to beat it there.
Oh! TB regains the place. You didn't expect that one. The softs must be wearing off surely. But there you go. He's ahead of Korsman once again. But now Korsman has the chance to reclaim the place into turn 4. Outside line he goes. The Chiller there in the background. Side by side they remain. Once again, Korsman outside line. The curb to his advantage is going to get ahead. The Chiller wanted to have a sneak, but couldn't get by with that little peek.
This battling could hinder the Chiller with the 3-second penalty to Luke. He's got to get past these two if they're going to be squabbling like this for the last lap and a half.
Maybe that's what TB's trying to do now. Trying to back him up, but still stay in DRS at Korsman. Give Luke some confidence that he can get back up there and get within 3 seconds, because right now, he's just barely out of it. We're on the penultimate lap. We're about to start the final lap. When Cookie won here last, it was in Season 7, and it was his first ever win in RPL, and it's his only win to date. And usually, you'll see races that end up having one driver that much clearer of the field in very rare circumstances. Monaco last season for Scyther, Spain last season for Scyther, but right now, Cookie is doing it over him in a McLaren, and could be taking victory tonight if he just doesn't bottle it. He could spin and still beat the rest of the line. That's how dominant he's been. Here comes TB back at it. The Chiller's now closer to pounce. TB and the Chiller are going to split Korsman. Korsman making contact with the Chiller, and Korsman trying to charge back at it around the outside. Side by side for turn 2, and now turn 3 where Korsman's ahead. Yellow flags further back and outside the points, but now they did make contact right there at 3, and now into 4. Korsman inside line this time is ahead. Now the Chiller picks the inside line for turn number 5. Can't get through. Korsman up into P4. Wow.
Unbelievable. I don't think it's over yet. TB still has just about more ERS. And he's going to have another DRS straight back.
We'll switch to this battle again in just a moment. We'll see if they can get it into turn 11. Not close enough.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, here we go.
He's gonna do it.
Korsman through and staying ahead. Cookie, his only win in RPL F1, comes back at this circuit, Season 7. We return to this circuit, Season 9. He's in a Red Bull, and he's going to win the race. Cookie, a second win, and he continues to be the boss of Bahrain, winning by 10 seconds, a very dominant margin, one you don't usually see often. Scyther second, Jack gonna be third, and now a run to the line where Korsman will keep 4th over TB, but will Luke get 6th on penalties?
He will.
He will.
He's done it.
Oh, 9th place, photo finish, 8th place actually. Lewis Piper, KVS, side by side, photo finish. It's going to be Lewis Piper. No, it's KVS because the penalties, but Lewis Piper on track by 22 thousandths of a second. KVS points on a return to RPL. First time he's raced here in 50 plus races over a year. He's back in the points, and so is Alpine again. Gecko too.
Gecko. Nice, quiet, solid drive for Gecko in the Williams. A nice 1 point, did an Alex Albon performance.
Oh,
wavy knife has crashed.
He has binned it, and he's his second retirement to this race. Final lap crash for the 2nd season in a row. in the season opener. Red Fire, Tadpole also come across the line. Here's Surge, here's Groggers, here's Minico, all the way to 15th. Fuel was a concern for some of them, with only there being just a VSC, but nothing too severe, and Florian will be the last one across the line because the last two runners got lapped. So, my driver of the day will be Cookie, but I have to give two shout-outs, though, to two drivers who deserve second and third on that list, and that's KVS and Gecko. Easily.
Absolutely, I agree. I don't know who else to say, really. I say TB for the attempt there at the end of the race to fight cars who are on superior soft compound tires.
Yeah.
I really respect the effort he had there. Obviously, Cookie you have to give it to. Jack as well for having a nice quiet drive and not getting caught with the soft tire runners as well at the end. Doing good ERS management. Lots of solid drives out there. Solid drive, not for Dagilla. P7 in the Red Bull. Disappointing.
To his credit, he did get taken out earlier on lap 1, but for him to be in that battle, to come back, it's decent, but it's not good enough if it's going to win them a Constructors title. They'll look back at this race, 25 races onwards, and say, this is the one where you could have overtaken two drivers and you had a penalty, and you didn't do so. If Red Bull lose it by just a couple of points, that's what they'll look back at. Either way, I think he did do okay. But from 20th on the grid, Tadpole gets 11th. From 12th on the grid, Gecko gets 10th. So make sure you start streaming. Oh, and therefore you get the final results on your end as well. 3-second penalties for just a couple of drivers. Everyone kept it clean. You really shouldn't be extending the track limits too bad in Bahrain. So the fact that most of the drivers kept it penalty free, may have got a warning or two, maybe none at all. That's a good thing. KVS 19th at 8th. Yeah, I think it's Cookie then KVS, my top two in driver of the day, easily. KVS is very close to Cookie if Cookie just doesn't basically sweep the weekend. The only thing he didn't do is lead the most laps because of the pit stop cycles. So if maybe he'd done that, I guess, and decided to pit later and pit after everyone else, maybe I could sit here and say he'd have it that much farther over KVS. But I have to give it to Cookie, then KVS, P2, and Gecko P3 in my driver of the day rankings, top 3 right there. The final results on your screen right now. For those of you tuning off, we need to let you know that F1 RPL is at Saudi Arabia next week, and Tier 2 is at Texas. Only 2 tiers in RPL. We could be seeing 100% tier come over very, very soon. More details to come on that. But Owen, final thoughts on this race from what we've seen? And what to expect in Saudi?
Well, I'd probably expect more domination from Key possibly, and I reckon it's gonna be a close fight this season with the Cookie out of the equation if Cookie's gonna be that dominant between the McLarens, the Ferraris, and the Mercedes. I think. So yes, very good display today of racing. I didn't see any too many major dirtiness. A few argy bargies, and I was quite pleased.
Me too. I think in terms of what I said about no DNFs, there's hope for the season. Yes, it's Bahrain and it's a hard track to retire at. You only had 2 retirements, and Wavy binned it. Josh, through no fault of his own. If you think about it, if Josh stayed in the race and didn't have that happen to him, you realistically could have said you had 20 runners still in it by lap 28, and that's something we can't really say a lot here. And it's not any disrespect to the drivers, but it's the fact that they always have something go on to not have a race with no DNFs, and we only had 2 this race, and we're seeing a good sight in the next season. The 5 of the last 6 races this season saw a safety car in it. Maybe 4 of the last 6 if I'm being corrected right now in my ear. Either way, the fact of the matter is we won a good amount of races from round 9 onwards without a safety car. Then it picked up at the end of the season. Abu Dhabi saw a clean race, and we have another clean race in a row at Bahrain. Less DNFs as well. Only a VSC. We're in the right direction for a good season for a clean one. And I think we're seeing Season 5 levels of competition, assuming this is Cookie's best track and the one he's going to sweat only. Who knows? But we'll find out by Saudi Arabia, which who knows if he's capping or not. But Cookie said this is a track that Saudi Arabia referring to that is not good for him. And I do think past history does show that a little bit. But I still think if it's not that good of a track for him, will he DNF? I don't know. Will he be battled? That I think so. And Saudi last season saw 11 DNFs, and I think what we'll call it is the part 2 of this game cycle. You have part 1 being round 1 to round 8, where there was at least one safety car in the race, and 2 races had 6 or more DNFs. And part 2 is races that have had 5 or less DNFs and not as much safety cars. We go to Saudi Arabia in part 2 now of F123, I'll call it, just because I want to kind of separate part 1 from it. Because I think part 2 of F123 with RPL F1, we could see a cleaner race at Saudi Arabia. Less DNFs, and we saw 11 last time we were there.
Jesus Christ. Well, let's hope that doesn't repeat itself. We have a much cleaner race.
Hey, to be fair, it was the beginning of the beginning of the game cycle, and the drivers were just learning the game. They know it now, so I don't expect to see any more than 5 at the very most. Is that high standards? I don't know. We'll find out. Either way, your 2 commentators, Ryan Searles, Owen37, signing off. If you want to tune into our socials, RPL_XB1, it will soon be changed as far as I've been told.
Indeed.
Because as you see, Cookie went from Xbox to PC, and we have a lot of cross-platform drivers. So make sure to tune in for that if we do end up doing that. Should be this week if it's done. Either way, next week's Texas for Tier 2, next week's Saudi for F1. Until next time, when you choose to tune in, we'll see you then. Ryan Searles, Owen37, signing off. Good night, folks.
Goodbye.